Take a look at me.
And as you'll have guessed from our opening track, System Addict, a hit in 1986, tonight's special guest is one of 5 pop star siblings who dominated the UK charts in the mid-80s. She's been rocking the Rewind festivals all summer, so we're delighted to welcome from 5 Star, Denise Pearson.
Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So nice to see you. Last time I saw you, we were in Scotland at Rewind, right? Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy those the 80s concerts?
Always. Everybody's always singing along. We always have great weather. And it's just perfect. It's beautiful.
Well, listen, we want to talk about, obviously, the sort of the musical influences in your life, as we always do on this hour of great conversations, where we sort of look back to see where that love of music first began. But before we do that, let's start in the current moment, because you have a brand new single that's just been released called Forever Young, right?
Yeah, that's the one where I sing my Jamaican patois. Me no go lie, up in me heart. You know say me love you, boy. What you was say? Me there, you know. Me no wanna chaka chaka, no wanna chaka chaka. Inna the marrows. Bless up, wagwan.
Oh, fantastic! I mean, there's obviously a real strong reggae influence, a sort of vibe to that track. Was that sort of always the intention, or did it just turn out that way?
It just dropped straight out of the heavens onto my laptop, and I sent it to my guys to record, and I went in the studio and did the vocals with it. It's just fate.
Oh, fantastic. And is that sort of a precursor to an album that's going to be coming soon?
Oh, gosh, yes. My album's called Free Queen C, and it's coming spring, summer of 2024.
Oh, explain that title, Free Queen C.
Yeah, so it's frequency, but which is, I think we're all energy and we resonate, and we have certain levels.
Yeah.
And I'm free, I'm a queen, and I'm aware, I'm awoken, and I'm resonating.
Forever Young, that's the new single from 5 Stars, Denise Pearson, our special guest on tonight's great conversation. Let's take a little jaunt down memory lane then with you, Denise, to kind of find where it all began. I mean, usually my opening question to guests is, did you grow up in a musical family? But I know you did, because your dad, who obviously went on to become sort of the mentor and the mastermind and the manager of 5 Star, Buster Pearson, he was a recording artist, a session musician, right? He worked with some pretty impressive people.
Yeah, he played on the Wilson Pickett Midnight Hour tour.
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, tumbling down.
Desmond Decker and Jimmy Cliff. And yeah, a lot of the greats back in the 60s. So he took all of that experience and he brought it to our table, which led to our success. Because that kind of experience you can't pay you can't buy.
So for as long as you can remember, you were growing up around music. Do you remember the first sort of song that you were obsessed with, or maybe the first single that you bought for yourself?
Daddy used to go to the studio and record his songs and then come back late at night and then kind of like wake us all up and play it for us.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Daddy used to distribute records too. We had loads of vinyls, boxes of vinyls in the sitting room. So we'd go through those, and in that was like Diana Ross, Love Child, and Casey and the Sunshine Band, and Elvis Presley, Crying in the Chapel, Crystal Gale, and Randy Crawford, J5, and all of these, Smokey Robinson and Lionel Richie and the Commodores. And it was just such a beautiful, happy musical household that we grew up in. The one that really brings back childhood memories for me is Up the Ladder to the Roof by the Supremes, and that's the one that we all used to get together before we started the group, and we had our own little routine. I remember the routine to this day. We always get in a line and show Mommy and Daddy up the ladder to the roof and do our dance routine.
Up the Ladder to the Roof from the Supremes got to number 6 in 1970, and a soundtrack to an early memory of singing and dancing with her siblings for our special guest, 5 Stars, Denise Pearson. And we'll be back to continue our great conversation with Denise next. Welcome back to the evening show with Jackie Brambles, where it's just you, me, and tonight's special guest, Denise Pearson from 5 Star, having a top-notch natter in our great conversation. So before the break, Denise, you were recalling the early days of you and your siblings singing and dancing along to records in your house. Of course, you were just kids having fun. But do you think it would have been something like that impromptu sort of playing together and singing together that made your dad think, do you know what? I think there's something here.
I think so. And the fact that we were all leaving school at the same time, because we're very, very close in age.
Yeah.
So it's like, so we were all leaving school, and we were kind of like, just like Problematic, the song that we wrote, the first song, left school at the end of June. Seems I left just a little too soon. Dressed up in my best blouse and shirt, I went in search of work. It's problematic. And so, that's what was happening in our household. So that's probably why Mum decided to put all 5 of us together in the group, because Dad was going to go for the 3. So Mum said just put all 5 together, and
just put all 5 kids together. And did you think there was there? I remember sort of when you sort of hit the big time in things, you were compared to like the Jacksons and things like that. Was that sort of in your dad's mind eye, or in all of you? Were they an inspiration for sort of a path to follow?
For sure. The Jacksons are and still are absolutely amazing. I mean, we used to watch their cartoons growing up and listen to their songs, and oh my God, Michael, I mean, listen to that voice in J5. Ahead of you. And that was a child, you know, and I'm listening to this vocal, and I'm thinking, wow. And Daddy's like, yeah, he's like, Daddy's so proud of, you know, just hearing, just talent, God-given talent. And so, it's an honor to be compared to the Jacksons and be labeled Britain's answer to, you know, the J5.
A favourite Jackson 5 hit of our special guest Denise Pearson of 5 Star. That's Who's Loving You, a top 40 hit in 1969. You were so young when 5 Star, you know, started out. Obviously, it wasn't immediate. It took a little while before the public sort of became aware of you. How old were you when you sort of, you know, did that first Top of the Pops?
Well, Jack, I was bringing in notes into school to do Top of the Pops and Wogan and Russell Harty and all of these shows, you know?
Wow.
I was still in school. I didn't get to take my A levels, B levels, Z levels, or whatever they were back in the day. I went straight into the group, which was my passion. It was always my passion, which I was so happy about, because I didn't really have to go to school anymore on certain days.
And what was that like for you with school friends and things? Because obviously your school friends would have been buying singles and albums and going to concerts of their favourite artists. Did you get to do that before you became famous yourself? Did you get to go and see live gigs?
No live gigs, sweetheart. Not when we were in school. No. The first live gig that I saw was Bobby Brown. He actually came to our house over in Sunningdale. After Eddie Murphy came over, then Lorraine invited Bobby Brown over, and I'm like, who's that in the toilet? She said, it's Bobby Brown. It's like, oh my God. So this Bobby was on tour, so he invited us to one of his shows. And I went there with my security guard. I think Del came along also. And when I saw this young guy in a towel thrusting, and the girls just totally screaming, I think most of us were virgins at the time, and I'm like, I cannot watch this. Please take me home.
Was it a bit too much?
It was too much for me. It's like, all right. So my security rushed me out of the building, and I just went home. And I thought, yeah. So that was my first concert.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a performer, Denise? You know, once the band was sort of up and running, even before you'd had any sort of commercial success, were you very comfortable in that role?
Yeah. I was, every time I'd come home from school, I'd get on my guitar and I'd write my songs, any kind of song on the 5 chords that I knew. I must have had about 55 songs.
Wow.
With the same chord, but I always used to, I guess I was manifesting it because it's my passion. My dad used to play guitar. I was very much like Daddy. We used to talk about music. So yeah, it's always been my passion. And I did actually say to Dad, if you don't sign me, I'm going to go and get a record deal at a record company.
That's not the usual teenage threat, is it? If you don't sign me to your label, I'll just go and find another one.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you have in your mind's eye then, Denise, you know, whether as you were sort of being an aspiring musician and performer yourself, who were you looking up to as a musical influence? You know, a female artist that you thought, wow, she's amazing. That's kind of the way I want to go. Or
Crystal Gale.
Say it is untrue.
Randy Crawford, Lionel Richie. I used to harmonize all the time to his voice because he's got that kind of voice to harmonize to. Zoom was one of them.
Oh, I like to greet the sun each morning.
one of Denise Pearson's favourite Commodores tracks, Zoom, from 1977. So when you first kind of burst through as Five Star and got, I think you'd released 2 or 3 singles that kind of hovered, near the top spot and things, but it was really System Addict, wasn't it, that got into that, the kind of the really higher echelons of the chart. And do you remember was there a sense of suddenly everybody knew who you were and, you couldn't walk down the street anymore without being recognized?
Yeah, and it was magnificent. I really loved it. Back then, a lot of black groups had to cross over. So we had the All Fall Down and Let Me Be the One. Mm-hmm. And then we crossed over to the right Rain or Shines and Love Takeover and Systematic to the pop side. So, and then I think that was the plan, my dad's plan. So we made it, we did it, and that's when the popularity started. And it was wonderful walking down the street, getting noticed, and
people asking for your autograph. And
asking for an autograph, and many of the times I didn't want to go out because it's like you have to watch what you say, you have to dress in a particular way, and you have to make sure you have your makeup on, and I didn't want to put my makeup on so many times. I just didn't want to put my makeup on, so I was like just at home, learning the next song, and we were designing the costumes and getting ready for the other TV performances, and a
lot of work. I'm just looking at the rundown of the Top of the Pops that you went on with System Addict the first time, and in the studio with you, I don't know if you'll remember this, Grace Jones was on, and Madonna, and Aha. Do you have clear memories of that?
Well, Morton came to see us when we were on tour. And it was like, oh my God. Daddy said, Martin is here. And I says, pardon, Dad? He said, Martin from Aha, he's here. And I just froze. I was 19 at the time. And so I went and I shook his hand just before the show, shook his hand. Hi, Martin, how are you? Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you? And that was all I said to him. And then I sat in the corner and I just looked at him. That was pleasurable for me. And so it was time to go on. It was like, Okay, bye. And I'm like, bye. And we all got ready and went on stage.
And obviously, one of the things that happens when you hit the big time is you go on tour, either your own or sometimes you're put on, a really huge established artists tour to kind of get that exposure. Did that happen to you? Were you put on somebody else's tour?
We were supposed to go on Michael Jackson's Bad Tour. He requested us before Kim did it, Kim Wilde. So, but Daddy said no, because my group is, they're not support artists.
Oh.
And he only told me this just before, I think it was 2 years before he passed. And I said, what did you say, Dad? And he said, yeah, I didn't want you to support anybody. And I thought, can you just repeat that one more time for me? If I knew that, there is no way I would not be on tour with Michael Jackson.
Your word is mine, won't take you right. And the whole world has to answer right now to tell you once again.
Michael Jackson's Bad Tour of 1988. So it turns out Five Star came very close to supporting him, but their dad manager wasn't having it. And we'll hear more fascinating inside stories just like that as our great conversation with Denise Pearson continues next. Welcome back to the evening show with Jackie Brambles, where tonight we're joined for our great conversation by Denise Pearson of Five Star. Let's talk about some of the biggest hits that you had back in the mid-'80s, Denise. You were firing them out thick and fast. And of course, the one that had the highest chart success was Rain or Shine. So what comes to mind for you when you think of the making of that track?
Okay, the first word is gremlin. So this is Billy Livesey, one of the songwriters of Rain or Shine. So when we're in studio, every time we went to go and do a take, there was always some kind of noise, some static or something that stopped us from recording the song. And every time that came up, he would say gremlin. So we ended up changing studios 3 times because I wasn't comfortable with the vocal booth. And he says, this song is definitely the biggest hit. And he was right, because it had so many problems. So normally that's how it works out. The more problems you have, the bigger the song's going to be.
Rain or Shine, the highest charting single for Five Star when it got to number 2 in 1986. Once the group went their separate ways, your connection to all things Michael Jackson actually continued when you appeared in the West End musical Thriller, right?
Yes. Oh my God. So Adrian Grant, the creator of Thriller Live, he got hold of me on MySpace, and he was there on one of our first ever tour shows. So he said, can you come in for an audition for Michael Jackson show that I'm putting on? So I went with my cousin. My cousin said, come on, Denise, because I just wanted to look after the kids and just, relax and be at home. She says, not with that voice, you're not. So she pushed me into the rehearsal room. And then I think I rehearsed 3 times. They called me back and then they said, yes, we want you in the show.
I was going to say, which track of when you were doing in Thriller Live in the West End, which track of Michael Jackson's did you most enjoy singing, or was the most challenging? Which one stands out for you?
The Way You Make Me Feel. I loved that because the female lead had to, when they opened up the curtain, the female lead had to walk forward in the sexy little dress and the boots and stuff and just sing that, you knock me off of my feet now, baby. And it was just, hey, pretty baby, with a high heel song. Give me a feeling like I never ever known.
And then another challenge you took on was you decided to go on The Voice, right?
Yes, I did. And when I told the guys, I said, I'm going on The Voice. And they said, I hope you're going on as a judge. And I said, no, I'm going
as a contestant.
And they said, no, you're not. Especially Lorraine. No, you're not. And I said, why not? I just came into the country and Five Star hadn't been seen in 30 years on TV.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? I'm just going to reintroduce myself. onto TV again. So that's what I did, and it was wonderful. And as soon as I met Tom Jones, I was wondering, what is it that these women see in this guy? I mean, he's lovely, he's handsome. What is it? But when you're in the same room as this guy, Jackie,
Yeah.
his energy and his aura just oh my God, it blows you away. It's like, now I know.
Now I get it.
Yeah, now I get it.
Spy on me, baby, you satellite. Sex bomb, you're my sex bomb.
Tom Jones, Sex Bomb, which Denise totally gets now, having spent time with him on The Voice. Listen, before I let you go, Denise, I'm going to ask you our closing question that we ask everyone. This is where you get to pick the final track of the hour, and it's a song that you have found yourself going to time after time because either it comforts or it uplifts or it inspires or energizes you. What song would that be for you?
This song would be Sailing by Christopher Cross.
Ah, how come?
Oh, I absolutely love it because as soon as it starts, it's one and one and one and one and one, and it reminds me of coming into LAX in Los Angeles for the first time, going to the hotel and the waves of the sun and the waft of the warm, humid air, and getting into the hotel room with pure air conditioning and ordering those massive meals. They were at Domino's Pizza were like tabletops, and just ordering what we wanted. And it's the first time being in America, and it was the beginning of the journey, and just, what is not one down of paradise is not for me. It's just such a dreamy kind of song, and it just brings us right back there at that table with that great big tabletop Domino's Pizza.
Well, it's not far down to paradise. At least it's not very neat. Soon I will be free.
Christopher Cross and Sailing, bringing back memories of touching down in LA and all that entails for our special guest, 5 stars, Denise Pearson. Well, listen, it's been such fun to chat to you. Do come back, won't you, with when the new album's out and when that reunion happens. Make sure you come by and tell us about it first. But let's remind people that the new single, Forever Young, is out now, and you have lots of dates all over the UK. At various 80s festivals and a special one at Pizza Express in September, right?
Yes, September 30th, Holborn. Be there, you guys. I love seeing you guys. Come and have some fun.
Take it easy, Denise. All the best.
You too. Thank you, Jackie. Bye, sweetheart.
5 stars, Denise Pearson.